Hello and welcome to the Revolutionary Marriage Podcast. I'm Dr. Debi, and today's episode explores a tender, often misunderstood question. Does she really want him more than she wants his money? Here's the painful irony. She does. She wants him far more than his paycheck. But the way she asks for his presence often backfires. Instead of drawing him close, her words or her tone can leave him feeling unwanted and unloved. So he retreats. Not because he doesn't care, not because money matters more to him than she does, but because at work he feels wanted. He feels competent. He feels appreciated. And at home, too often he feels like he's failing. That's the tension so many couples live with. And today we're going to talk about why it happens and one small but powerful way to turn it around. Picture this. He walks in the door after a long day. She's busy juggling dinner. The kids are loud, maybe even fighting. She's desperate for backup. But instead of engaging, he seems distant, preoccupied, almost invisible. She feels abandoned. He feels unwanted. And home becomes the place both of them dread, instead of the place they both long for. Many husbands describe the same inner world. All day long, they carry two heavy burdens. First, the pressure to perform at work, to stay productive, to keep providing. Second, the emotional armor they wear against constant messages of inadequacy. You're not enough. You'll never make it. Someone else could do it better. By the time a man drives home, he's weary already. And home, more than anywhere else, needs to be the place he can take that armor off. Several years ago, one husband revealed something heartbreaking. He had a brutal commute in Southern California. At the end of the day, instead of pulling into his driveway, he would drive past his own house, park a few blocks away, and sit in his car, weeping. Why? Because he dreaded walking inside. He knew he would not be met with warmth, but with a list of problems to fix. Not a smile, not a welcome, not even an acknowledgement that he mattered as a person. To his wife, it looked like he cared more about work than about her. But the reality was different. Work had become the one place he felt capable, confident, and appreciated. At home, he felt like he was a failure. At work, he felt like he was winning. And of course, people are drawn to where they feel they're winning. But wives carry their own heavy load, especially a stay-at-home mom. She might have been wrangling toddlers all day long and longing for an adult to tag in. A working wife may walk through the same door exhausted herself, already balancing deadlines, homework, and the never-ending cycle of meals and laundry. She imagines her husband will arrive as the cavalry, ready to rescue, relieve, and restore order. But when he doesn't step in, confusion turns to resentment. Both are weary, both are wounded, and both feel unseen. Here's an important difference. Most women have outlets for emotional support. They talk to girlfriends, family members, or even online communities. They share their struggles, swap stories, and find empathy. Most men don't. Few men can look at a friend and say, I feel like I failed today. I feel like I'm not enough. For the average husband, the only place he dares risk that kind of vulnerability is at home with his wife. That is, if home is safe, because in that environment he thrives. But if home is not, he retreats. Too often, the very moment he walks through the door becomes the moment he feels attacked. Where have you been? Do something with these kids. Why don't you ever help? And here's what wives don't always realize. For a man who's already been beaten up by the world all day long, those words are the emotional equivalent of a kick in the groin. He goes down fast. And now, instead of feeling like her knight in shining armor, he feels stripped of strength, useless, unwanted, unappreciated. She longs for rescue and he longs for refuge. She wants presence. He wants peace. Neither is wrong, but when they miss each other in those crucial first moments, both end up lonely in the very place they should feel most connected. And tragically, she thinks he only cares about money, when in fact, he's simply hiding at work because that's the only place he feels wanted, competent, and appreciated. So what's the answer? How can his dread be transformed into desire? The good news is that sometimes all it takes is one small shift. When he walks in the door, pause, look up, make eye contact, and smile. Just 5 to 7 seconds of warmth, a signal that says, I see you, and I'm glad you're home. It costs almost nothing, but it changes everything. Because when a man feels wanted, he rallies, energy returns, and suddenly he's far more willing to step in, not because he was asked, but because he wants to. Imagine if home became the one place he looked forward to most. Imagine if she felt the relief of true partnership. Imagine if both walked through the same door and found not another burden, but a safe haven where they could exhale together. That's what extraordinary marriages are made of. Not perfection, not performance, but partnership and purpose that begins in those first few seconds. So here's the challenge. Test it. This week, try the 5 to 7 second welcome. See if it changes the atmosphere. See if it changes him. And maybe see if it changes you. Because in the end, she really does want him more than his money. She just doesn't always know how to show it. And he really does want her to be happy. He just doesn't always know how to deliver it. Thank you for joining me on the Revolutionary Marriage Podcast. For more resources and for ways to take your own marriage from good enough to extraordinary, visit revolutionarymarriagecoaching.com. Because love isn't about perfection. It's about partnership. And when both partners feel seen and safe, marriage becomes truly revolutionary.